right, guys. Hey, welcome back to another Tuesday night edition of BMX Coach Live. I'm your host, three-time Olympic coach, Greg Romero, coming to you live from sunny San Diego. Hope you guys are doing really well. It's always good to see your smiling faces. Today, we're going to talk about the 4 secrets that athletes really need to work on in terms of their BMX performance. And today, we're really going to cover the 4 pillars of your character traits, everything from skills, physical strength, mental, emotional fitness, and your character traits. And why are these things important? Well, because when it comes to high level performance of BMX racing, whether you're a beginner, intermediate, expert, a pro, a struggling intermediate to expert, or even older cruiser rider, listen, working on these 4 things, right? The skills, the physical traits, the emotional and mental fitness, the character traits. You got to look at it as a table, okay? And well, I don't have a table, but you know, if any of these 4 pillars, you look at it like table legs, if any of them get unbalanced, you know, it's going to create an imbalance in your racing. So in an effort to make sure that we are elevating our racing, we always want to make sure that those 4 pillars are raising up, and we're raising up simultaneously. And if one gets ahead of the other, then that doesn't mean you don't want to back off and not continue to increase that one area that you're working on, but you want to bring the other ones in and create this harmony. Sometimes balance, it's really hard to achieve. In fact, to get esoteric, the universe is always trying to rebalance. It's never achieving perfect balance, but we can attain harmony, and that's what it's all about. It's all about elevating these 4 areas in an effort for you guys to elevate your performance, okay? And so in my career, whether it was my amateur career, my struggling amateur career, my struggling professional career, to all of a sudden super successful professional career in racing, I figured it out. I figured out the secret that, hey, there's other areas I need to work on besides just getting stronger. There's other areas I need to work on besides just working on my skills. There's other areas to work on besides working on my mental, emotional fitness. There's other areas to work on rather than just focusing on my character traits. And what you're going to find is BMX racers, we tend to get really minute. We tend to go deep into one area, which is fine. And I'm finding that the guys that are really successful are the ones that are addressing all these areas, okay? Just like professional athletes in all different sports. You know, you think of a quarterback's always working on his mechanics of his throw. He's always working on strategy. He's always working on his emotional, mental fitness and clarity. He's always working on his character traits. Like, hey, what's he doing away from the football field, the practice facility? Is he getting his sleep? Is he working on recovery at home? Is he not partying? Things like that. So let's dive in and try to figure this all out and give you guys more clarity on what I'm thinking and how it can pertain to your guys' performance. Let's check out and see what's going on in the live chat though for a second, so please forgive me. Jason P says, hey coach. Jack Baker says, yo. JP says, hey coach. Jacob James, afternoon coach. Biking Better says, hey coach. Jeremy Gass says, what's up? And Jason P says he loves the message on the shirt. Yeah, train hard, race easy. You know, I really think that I should probably change it and make it to where it says train hard, race hard. But really, at the end of the day, the whole concept of the train hard, race easy means that you're training yourself up to a certain level to where you've achieved this mastery. Okay, and the mastery means that everything's happening unconsciously. So that's where I kind of get the easy part. In my mind, my model of the world is if I could do everything easy in terms of like not having to think about it, not having to worry about coming out of the gate on time, not having to worry about my rhythm section technique, not having to worry about my turning strategy, my manualing strategy. If all that stuff is trained up, all that stuff is going to happen easily and effortlessly. And when you achieve that mastery, that's where everything happens easily and effortlessly. So that's kind of like the whole concept of, you know, my model of the world on that. That doesn't mean I don't want you to try it hard. Don't get me wrong. But really at the end of the day, it's all about achieving mastery. And that's what we're going to talk about a little bit more today in terms of achieving mastery of these 4 pillars that we just spoke about. So guys, welcome back to the show. Thank you very much. It's always great to see you guys. It's always good to see your smiling faces. Darren Ross says, thank you. Just getting in from practice to tune in, and now I'm I'm gold. I'm Gold Cup #1 after last weekend. Heck yeah, brother. I love that, man. That's what it's all about. It's all about supporting each other. So, let's review these pillars again. Depending where you're at with your development and path in BMX, you could easily be high in any of these areas because you feel it's important to you, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? In terms of those 4 pillars. Man, I probably, it would be nice to break out something like that. But maybe I will next time. A little drawing board here. So let's talk about skills, because I think that's an important pillar, and I think that's obviously an area where everyone just goes deep into, and it's obviously super important when it comes to the foundation of your BMX racing. BMX skills could have many more pillars within itself, and it's constantly being challenged and exposed, from gate start technique, jumping skills, manualing skills, turning, passing, strategy, etc. It could be said that BMX skills are probably the most important pillar. Again, that depends on who you talk to, because I've had some ridiculous talented professionals that I have spent plenty of time with, right, coaching, and that have mastered their skills and reach a point where it's truly automatic and easy for them, and they could afford to spend time working on other areas that could balance their table, right? Like I can recall a time where I had easily the most talented rider back in the mid 2000s, a kid by the name of Mike Day, who won a silver medal at the Olympic Games, and I was his coach, and super, super talented. He would always win the time trials, and the one thing that he was worried about was just making sure that he was in a good position in the first turn. So in an effort to ensure that he got there, we always worked on sprints. We always worked on lower body strength, and we really dove deep into that area, as well as touching on the other areas of the character traits, right? Like being super dedicated and showing me that he is all in, because if I'm all in on an athlete, I want you to be all in on your profession as well. So, on the other hand, if you're newer to BMX, like a lot of us that are in the chat right now that are newer, and a lot of you guys that are watching this may be newer to BMX, then, it's really important for you to explore and develop each skill, right? Working on this pillar of skills should be a priority of frequency and volume, meaning that you're going to every practice chance that you get. Okay, and making sure that you're showing up and you're working on your skills, and you're working on your base foundation. Your gate start technique, your pedaling technique, but more importantly, the way you navigate jumps. Whether you're a little guy that's working on pumping, or if you're an older guy that needs to work on manually because you're going way too fast to pump, and other competitive riders are faster because they have the edge, they have the ability to manual or jump. So you want to think about where you're at, and also think about where you're at and compared to the competition, okay? And so, that's really important, right? Like figuring out where you're at and assessing, right? Having a true self-assessment, like taking a piece of paper and just saying, okay, well, gates, sprinting, acceleration, and then, jumping, manualing, pumping, turning technique, fitness, all that stuff, right? And really grading where you're at and finding out, hey, where am I low? Because you're going to find that wherever you're low, if you bring that up, okay? And we're talking about the pillars within the skill pillar, right? Like the skill pillar, you can look at that as macro, but we're talking about the micro pillars within skills, and elevating those skills, right? Like for me, for example, I always had a decent gate start technique and a good 1, 2, 3, but sometimes I lacked power from the 30-foot mark all the way to the first turn as a pro. So what I would do is I would work on that length of that sprint. Or sometimes I struggled with, as an amateur, I struggled with my jumping. I was just really stiff, I was awkward, I wasn't smooth, I wasn't efficient, and I would run out of gas coming out of the last turn going into the finish line, because I spent a lot of time and energy, wasted a lot of energy navigating the track to get to the finish line. And so, and navigating through the jump. So that was an area in my later years as an amateur when I started to really dominate and become one of the best amateurs in the country, was working on the skill set of just being smooth, going to the trails, working on, nose diving, working on, subterranean style, pushing through and floating and going through bigger jumps and working on my manualing. And once I did that, then that actually took a lot of pressure off of my first straight. I now was a more complete athlete. I didn't have to worry about getting out of the gate, because that was my strategy back then, was I got to get out of the gate and get the whole shot, because I got to be able to hold everyone off. Because if I was coming from behind, I just didn't have the skills to start picking people off. But once I elevated my skill set of jumping and pumping, getting through rhythm sections, that cleaned up a lot of things. It cleared up my mind, it gave me less anxiety, took a lot of pressure off the first straight, it allowed me to get more hole shots. And that was the thing. You have to think about it like, we tend to be minute, like, oh, I need to work on my strength, I need to work on my hole shots, more hole shots, I need to eat more squats, I need to eat more sprints. And it's like, dude, like if you raise up the other area of your racing performance, such as your skills, it's going to increase your track speed, it's going to increase your confidence, it's going to increase your ability to get from the gate all the way to finish line with complete mastery, effortlessly and easily, that you will actually get more hole shots by default by raising the ceiling of other areas of your skill sets. So that's definitely something that you guys want to think about. Let's talk about the physical strength. That's the next important, right? So we're talking about skills, physical strength, mental, emotional fitness, and then character traits. Shall we? Physical strength. BMX is a very physical sport. Whether you're, I think of like physical sport, like we're fighting each other, and we really are. And so not only are we fighting each other around the track, but we're also fighting the bike and fighting the obstacles. So we're fighting ourselves, fighting the obstacles, and then fighting other people on the track at the same time. And so physical strength is important. BMX is a demanding sport. And luckily, through riding the bike, you develop some sport-specific strength, right? You're developing your ability to overcome inertia out of the gate and accelerate. You're imposing the demand to get through rhythm sections and work on the upper and lower body demands of manualing and pumping, etc. And also turning as well, because turning, I really believe, is a lower body strength need. It's a big demand. So look at my notes here, whether that means power to sprint out of the gate, spin at a high cadence down the first straight, develop the key muscles to perform a manual. The racers that get to the next level of growth address the physical body alternatively away from the track and off the bike in an effort to enhance their BMX racing skills and power. The intent is to be more efficient on the bike, where you can perform these skills easier. This is also an area where you will always want to address, because you are the true motor of the bike. The stronger you can make the key muscles to perform explosive tasks, such as gate starts and acceleration to the first jump, your potential to race up front increases. Understand that strength training helps with one's ability to be smooth and efficient over jumps, whether you choose to pump, manual, or jump, and give you the strength to make corrections and prevent yourself from getting out of shape on jumps, okay? For older riders, strength training can enhance one's ability to ride on the back wheel. Think of manualing, tap manuals, and navigating a deep technical rhythm section, all right? And then also think about the alternative as well to physical strength is being able to recover fast, right? For the next lap, for the next practice, for the next race session. Okay, so that's the importance of strength training. BMX is a anaerobic, explosive sport. So strength training is the base foundation, especially off the bike and away from the track. All right, you guys are following me there? And of course, strength training is not just exclusive to older guys that are over 13 years old, lifting and getting under the bar and lifting weights. The younger guys, the 12 and unders, need to be doing body weight exercises and alternatives as well. And so that means body squats, that means lunges, push-ups, dips, and even to a certain point of potentially doing pull-ups and maybe even band-assisted pull-ups, and even potentially doing all these exercises with a lightweight bar or even dumbbells, right? Holding dumbbells and doing squats and body squats. Okay, so there's lots of alternatives for kids to get stronger. And listen, there's no problems with kids, lifting with, with weight that's reasonable. Okay. All right, let's keep flying here because I want to get to the questions. That's always my favorite part of the show. Let's talk about the third pillar. So we covered skills. We talked about physical strength as a pillar. And let's talk about the mental and emotional fitness pillar. Let's answer the question, right? What is mental and emotional fitness? Mental fitness is simply being able to access your ideal performance mind state for the lap, and emotional fitness is having behavior flexibility. Okay, so let's go over these quickly. Your mind state is going to either enhance you or hurt you. And I like to think of these as either being resourceful or unresourceful states. A resourceful mind state could mean you have thoughts and feelings of being energized, alert, confident, as well as empowered, ready, etc. Okay, there are many more, and these are just a few examples. An unresourceful mind state, for example, could mean you have thoughts and feelings of being energized, alert. My bad. An unresourceful mind state could be thoughts and feelings of uncertainty, fear, doubt, not being good enough, not belonging, nervousness, anxiety, etc. All right. So know the difference, right? Think about what's resourceful, what's unresourceful. And, there's more to it, but let me stick to my notes because my brain just goes crazy. It just starts popping off as like fireworks as opposed to someone like Elon Musk who just shuts down. The question is, do you have an intention of having a resourceful mind state, and are you able to access it before the gate drops and maintain it from staging till the end of the lap? And I really think that's the key, right? That's the key to some of the, especially at the higher levels of BMX racing, whether it's the national level, regional Gold Cup, the national level, international level, world championship level, Olympic medal level, not Olympic medal. When I think of Olympic, I think of medals. Forgive me. But yeah, so character traits, right? We'll get to that in a moment. But emotional fitness is about your ability to respond to things resourcefully versus responding unresourcefully. Okay, so that's the key of knowing the difference. It's like, for example, I'm going up to staging, and or let's go back to the pit area. It's like, okay, it's time to race. All right, let me grab my bike, let me grab my helmet, let me put on my gloves, put on my jersey, put on my clips, put on my clips, strap them up, click, 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 put on my helmet, maybe take a drink of water, and then boom, start warming up. From there, I'm automatically getting into a race-ready state of some sort. Now it's all about thinking resourcefully, like knowing my outcome and getting into the proper state. Okay, so for the most part, being a pro that I was, I'm like, listen, I'm going for the win. I'm going for the whole shot. I'm going for the gusto, no matter if it's a qualifying lap, a quarter, semi, a main event, or if there's 3 main events. I'm going for it, right? Like that's the name of the game. And so I would make sure that I would get into that winning mind state for me. So for me, that always meant to be, relaxed and ready, because I can get amped up. I can get amped up and start stumbling my words because I get so darn excited. And so for me, it was all, being resourceful for me was about relaxing and being ready, a relaxed ready. Not relaxing to where I'm sleeping, but a relaxed ready. I'm on my toes. I'm ready to come out of the gate. I'm ready to hear that cadence. I'm ready to hear that first horn and react. And I knew if I could be relaxed, ready, and I reacted well, I could get out of the gate clean without thinking, and I can potentially and always get the whole shot. So for me, that was key. Now, the opposite, being unresourceful, would be, oh, well, I'm going up to staging. I'm not knowing my outcome. Or I see somebody that's really fast, or I look at the motor board and there's someone next to me that's, oh, it says, I'm a number 2 pro and this guy's a number 1 pro, for example. Oh my gosh, maybe he might beat me. And those are unresourceful thoughts. And the key is, yeah, you might have that first unresourceful thought, but the key is to immediately, that second thought, you got to get back to a resourceful thought. If that second thought is a negative thought based upon the first thought being negative, then all of a sudden you're going down this chain of a negative thought follows with a negative thought, with a negative thought, with a negative thought, with a negative thought. all of a sudden you're in an unresourceful state and you're screwed. I've done this myself. Everyone's done this to themselves, right? Like they get triggered in staging. Oh my gosh, man, I'm nervous. I don't know. I'm afraid that I might get cut off, or I might crash, or I might not make it. And listen, those are valid thoughts. Those are possibilities. So the key is to get into a resourceful state of what's true of what you want. And that's why it's important to understand that you need to know your outcome. If you think that like, well, I just need to get fourth or better, then you're not putting your best foot forward. And BMX, especially with the pillar of mental and emotional fitness, it's all about putting your best foot forward and being positive and knowing what that looks like and having vision and getting in a resourceful state. Because, man, everything is based upon the computer program, which is our central nervous system, which is our unconscious mind. It has the programming of how you're going to perform. And it knows darn well how to perform best. And let me give you an example. You go to practice and there's no pressure and you're flowing, you're getting good gaits, and you're feeling really good down the first straight, and you're flowing and killing the track. Well, you're doing it with no pressure. So if that's the case, you got to be able to get into a no pressure situation where you're thinking opportunistic at the race, at the track, in staging, when you get into the gate and the gate is full and it's time to go. All right. So hopefully that gives you guys some ideas. Having behavior flexibility is all about, again, shifting yourself back into a resourceful mind state and understanding, wait, those are just thoughts of negativity. I don't need to invest or act upon those thoughts. Let's get back to what's important. Let's get back to what I need to do, as opposed to avoiding doubt, fear, anxiety, nervousness, getting cut off, not making it, being embarrassed, whatever these negative, unresourceful stories that are trying to percolate into your brain. All right, hopefully that's helpful. Let's get to the fourth one, character traits. So we covered skills. We covered mental, emotional fitness. We covered physical strength. Now let's talk about character traits. Now, when I think of character traits, I also consider one's ability to practice discipline, dedication, effort, and focus. Okay, some riders have no problems with their ability to some riders have no problems with their ability to show effort and dedication. Some are just halfway in rather than all in. Usually this is a result of one or two things. Their purpose to race and compete isn't strong enough. If this is the case, then they should revisit this, okay? The second one, it could be that an athlete is gifted and things come to them easy, and it's not required of them to put in an extra effort of practice or discipline, or they just don't understand the value of putting in work, focus, or dedication, all right? This is where someone will need to teach them the importance of character traits. So, for example, for me, I have personally struggled in all of these areas throughout my amateur and professional career, right? When it comes to character traits, for example, I remember, doing really well my rookie year, okay? I remember winning like 3 races in a row, and it was in the middle of summer. And I was able to kind of like, thinking like, hey, I'm pretty good. People are telling me I'm good. I'm getting results. I'm getting feedback. I'm getting feedback that I'm good. There's evidence that I'm good. I'm a good pro racer now. All of a sudden, my unconscious mind's like, yeah, you're good. You're good. So I end up taking the foot off the gas pedal, lifting, and just kind of coasting. And I didn't realize at a young age. I figured out the hard way about a year later, after I struggled for a long time, trying to get back to where I was, where everything was happening easily and effortlessly, and I was on that rookie hype. That basically, winning is an infinite game. It's not a finite game, right? It's not like, oh, I won, I'm good. It's no, I won, I'm good, and I need to keep working, because there's always somebody coming up that's younger than me. And that's what happened. Like in the pro class, it's a crazy revolving door. The older guys are going out and there's newer guys coming in. And that's sport, right? And you'll notice that when if you happen to have the experience of like going through like the ages of 8 through 12 and you're still around, you're competing at a decent level or high level, say at the national level, you're always going to see that there's new guys coming in and some guys are getting burnt out and they're leaving, but yet you're still there. And so, the thing is it's like this. Once you realize you're fast and you're good, great. You got to go to the next level of being great. Once you're great, you got to go to the next level of being outstanding. So think about good, great, and outstanding. And the guys that are outstanding are always working. They're always working. Think of guys like Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods. Think of guys like Joris Dade. Think of guys like Connor Fields. Think about some of the top amateurs that just keep working, right? Think about some of these amateurs that turn pro and they just keep working. And so that's the thing. Getting better is an infinite game. It's not a finite game. It's not like, oh, once I'm good, right? It's kind of like learning in school. Oh, you know what? In the 5th grade, I learned I'm smart. Well, dude, like you got to go to the 6th grade and prove that again. Learning and growth is an infinite game. Once you learn, it's not like, okay, well, I can go ahead and take a break from learning. And I even do that in my 40s, right? Like I'm really good at reading. I love reading. I love personal growth. It's one of my favorite subjects. And sometimes I'll go into a spurt where I don't pick up a book for a month or two. And it's like, whoa, dude, people don't stop growing. Okay, so anyways, that's the thing, right? Like getting into that mindset that, and it's a behavioral thing, right? It's a value belief thing of your character trait that, hey, you know what? Going to work is an infinite game, right? So there you guys have it. That's for me, all of these areas, right? The character trait, the emotional, mental, fitness. The character pillar. Well, let's start to the top. The skill pillar, the physical strength pillar, the emotional and mental fitness pillar, and the character traits pillar. I have personally struggled with all these pillars, and the ability to identify all those pillars and start elevating each one and working on this harmony of making sure I'm achieving that I'm putting attention in all those areas. Just like a quarterback would work on his skills, he would work on the playbook, he'd work on his physicality, he'd work on his character traits at home. The greats are always working, and they're always working with an infinite game type attitude. They never stop until they retire. And really, at the end of the day, if more people can have this mindset, they're certainly going to get a lot more out of the racing, and they're going to be able to apply these principles in other areas of their life. Because at the end of the day, you need skills. You need physical. Skills could be anything, right? And other careers of your life, right? Entrepreneurial skills, communication skills, whatever it is. And then you're going to need to work on your physical, your basically your health, right? Health is an infinite game. It's not like, oh, I'm healthy now. Cool, I could stop. No, health is an infinite game. It keeps going until you die, right? That's something that you need to work on, right? And then, of course, the mental, emotional fitness. Okay, you follow me? The character traits, the behaviors, right? Even in my 40s, I'm still finding old behaviors that are popping up, and then I'm learning, oh, that's an old behavior. It's not useful to me anymore. What would I want instead? Maybe I should change it and delete it, reprogram it, dissolve it. All right, guys, so I could keep going. I'm curious to know what you guys have for me. BMX Guy says, good stuff. Thanks for the knowledge. Timothy DC, I'm an intermediate, enjoy racing experts more than my own class because I feel like I push harder. Yeah, that's great. So let's see here, guys. Let's see. I want to move on to some questions. And usually I have some videos, but I didn't prepare those. So what I'm going to do is we're just going to do, what's this one? See if I can throw this in there. All right, so guys, let's figure this out. Okay, I figured it out. Let's ask some questions. Let's talk about you and your needs as it pertains to the pillars, the physical skills, the physical strength, the skills, the emotional, mental, and the character traits. Let's talk about it. I'm here to help you guys out. I'm very honored to be your coach, and let's talk about that here right after the break.
Hey guys, I have a question. What would it do for you if you could enhance your power out of the gate, enhance your sprint speed down the first straight, enhance your skills, enhance your mental performance mind state? What would that do for your racing or your kids' racing? If you're seeing the value of enhancing your BMX performance, consider joining the community of BMX Training Pro and get the same access my Olympic athletes have enjoyed, as well as thousands of BMXers all over the world. Some members use the access to improve their gate start techniques. Some also use the access to keep them motivated to train, and you'll find your reason when you gain access and join BMX Training Pro today. Hey
guys,
I have a
thank you very much.
What
Hey,
would it do
listen,
for
if
you
you guys can, make sure you guys go to bmxtraining.com. If you guys like this information that I'm giving you and you guys want more, go to bmxtraining.com. Check out, there's a couple things that I can serve you. One way is to join my BMX newsletter that I'm emailing out every week. That's BMX Master. You'll see that at the top of the page when you guys get to bmxtraining.com.
Use the access to improve their gate start techniques. Some also use the access
there's
to keep them
another way
motivated
for
to
you guys
train,
to get fast.
and you'll find
you guys go to
your reason when you gain access and join BMX Training Pro
BMX
today.
Accelerator. Again, that's bmxtraining.com/BMX Accelerator.
Hey guys, I have a question. What would it do for you if you could enhance your power out of the gate?
bmxtraining.com/BMX Accelerator.
Enhance your skills.
You guys
enhance your
join
mental
that.
performance.
There is a free 3-day training course for you guys to work on your speed out of the gate around the track
performance,
and
consider joining the community of BMX Training Pro and get the same access
go
my
check
Olympic
that out.
athletes
All
have
right, so
enjoyed,
let's move
as
forward
well
with
as
some
thousands
questions.
of
This guy here
BMXers all over the world. Some members use the access to improve their gate start techniques. Some also use the access to keep them motivated to train, and you'll find your reason when you gain access and join BMX Training Pro today.
Jacob James says,
Hey guys,
Coach, what's
I have
your
a question.
opinion on doing
what would
strength
do for
work
you if you could
before
enhance
sprints?
your power out of the
Usually
gate?
after
Enhance
sprints,
your
I'm
sprint speed
spent
down
and
the first
choose
straight.
not to want
Enhance
to
your
move weights.
skills.
Thank you.
Enhance your
Then I
mental
think for you,
performance
listen, I think
mindset.
everyone's a little
What
bit
would that
different
do
with
for your
that.
racing
That's
or your
kind of
kids'
a
racing? If you're seeing the value of
if you
enhancing
look
your
at sprints,
BMX performance,
sprints is
consider
like a
joining the
skill
community
set,
of BMX Training Pro
So
and get
I
the
would say
same
do your sprints
access
and
my
then
Olympic
do your
athletes have
strength training.
enjoyed, as well as thousands of
If you get
BMXers all
because
over
if
the
you're
world.
spent after doing
Some
sprints,
members
then
use the access to
your
improve their
CNS,
gate
your
start
central
techniques.
nervous system,
Some also
right?
use the access to keep them motivated
spent,
to train,
right?
and you'll find your reason
experience
when you
fatigue,
gain access and join
there's no
BMX
more
Training
attention
Pro
span
today.
and an effort for you to do strength training. So I would definitely do your sprints first.
Hey
Some
guys,
people
I have a question. What would
love
it do
doing
for you
sprints
if
right
you could
after
enhance
strength
your
training
power out of
because
the
you
gate,
get this
enhance your
little
sprint
boost
speed down the
of
first straight, enhance your skills, enhance your mental performance mind state. What would that do for your
basically
racing
like
or your kids' racing?
opening up
If you're seeing the value
neurological
of enhancing
pathway
your BMX
through
performance,
strength work.
consider joining the community of BMX Training
once that's
Pro
open,
and get the
then you
same
go ahead
access
and work
my
on
Olympic
some
athletes
skills
have
and
enjoyed,
some
as well as
explosion
thousands of BMXers
sprints,
all over the
right? Some
world.
explosive
Some
sprints.
members use
And,
the access
you know,
to
to each
improve
his
their
own.
gate start techniques. Some also use the access to keep them motivated
I think
to train,
that sprinting
and you'll
is a
find
skill,
your reason
and
when
so
you gain
should
access
definitely
and
try to
join
go
BMX
in
Training Pro
as fresh as you
today.
can. Now, don't get me wrong. I have a lot of athletes do sprints right after gym.
Hey guys, I have a question.
And
What would it do for
sometimes
you
it's
if
like
you could enhance your
maximum
power out of the
speed
gate?
sprints,
Enhance your
for
sprint
kids I'm
speed down the first
that I'm
straight.
working with and they do
Enhance your
body weight
skills. Enhance your
strength
mental
exercises.
performance
I'll have them
mind
do
state.
like, you know,
what would that do
5
for your racing or your
maximum
kids'
speed
racing?
downhill
If you're
sprints
seeing
and
the
just work on
value
their
of
legs.
enhancing your BMX performance, consider joining the community of BMX Training
cool.
Pro and get the same access my Olympic athletes have enjoyed, as well as thousands of BMXers all over the world. Some
your
members
commercials
use the
overlap the
access to
sound.
improve their gate start techniques.
Whoops.
Some
All right.
also use the access to keep them motivated to train, and you'll find your reason when you gain access and join BMX Training Pro today.
All right, is that better?
Hey guys, I have a question. What would it do for you if you could enhance your power out of the gate, enhance your sprint speed down the first straight, enhance...
All right, are we working? Let me hear. Okay, we're good. Oh my God, man! Please forgive me, man, rookie. Hey, listen, man. I try to be good at everything. I'm not. I know I'm not, man. Okay, so all right. So let's go back. Jacob James says, Coach, what's your opinion on doing strength work before sprints? Usually after sprints, I'm spent and choose not to want to move weight. Thank you. Okay, everyone says we're all good. Thank you. All right, so here's the deal on that. If you guys didn't hear me because my commercial was playing in the background. Man, now I have to repeat myself because I thought I nailed it. Here's the deal. I think that, again, what I was saying earlier is that sprinting is a skill, so you may want to work on that skill first while you're fresh, okay? And then you can go into the gym. And a lot of professional sports teams, they work that way. Like football is one of my favorite sports, hockey as well. They all work on their skills. They work on their drills. They work on their team drills, their strategies, their plays, etc., their skills. And then after that, they go in and lift. So I see no problem with doing that. Sometimes I have athletes that have no problem sprinting after the gym. Again, what I was saying earlier is that it's basically a neurological opener, meaning that we're basically opening up the neurological pathways, okay? What is called, sometimes is known as muscle activation when we do strength training. And then once our muscles are activated, we could go ahead and get more out of our sprints. Now, that's only good if you're really, really trained up and strong and you can handle the volume. However, I do have kids that are under 12. They do body weight strength exercises. And then I'll let them go do 5 downhill sprints maximum speed. Nothing crazy, right? Just something where they can open up their leg speed a little bit more than normal. But if you're doing, flat ground sprints, uphill sprints, and doing it after a strength workout, if you're finding yourselves just way too flat to do the sprints, then you may want to consider doing the sprints first and then do the gym. At some point, you just have to keep pushing yourself because, perhaps you just need to impose more strength volume demand. Okay. Hopefully that answers your question, Jacob. Thank you very much. All right, looks like there's a lot of good questions in here. Let me see what I could extract out of this. Josh B says, get into flow state, race easy. Yeah. Again, I think we talked about that earlier, right? Talking about getting into a state that works for you. And perhaps for some of you guys, just getting into the flow. What does flow state even mean? Well, flow state means that you're able to execute your trained skills under duress, okay? And being able to be present and execute and be in the present moment, right? That's just key. Being in the present moment, letting everything unfold right in front of you, rather than thinking 3 steps ahead before the gate even drops. Now, I think it's good to get the outcome that you want, but it's also important for you to get back into the present moment, and especially if you're in staging, right? Because the more that you think about the race while you're in staging, listen, you're just burning up energy. I think it's important for you to get the visualization of what it's going to be like coming out of the gate and smashing that lap. Do that once or twice before you get into staging, then get into the staging, get into your resourceful mind state, get into the present moment while you're in staging, and just kind of go with the flow. If someone talks to you, talk to them back. There's no need for you to beat yourself up emotionally and mentally thinking about, oh my gosh, our race is about to come up. I know at least for me, it doesn't work that way. And I think for the most part, if you could find that nice flow state where you could sustain your energy throughout a race day, that is key. Coming from a negative motivator of fear and anxiety and overthinking it and try to carry that energy, that high energy from staging all the way to the gate, while I think some people can pull that off, I just don't think it's sustainable. I just don't. Jack Baker. I love some Jack Baker, man. Jack Baker's putting in the work. He says, I could squat 250 pounds with a what? A BW. with a body weight of 150 pounds as a 14 intermediate, do you think that is reasonable? Dude, that's pretty good. All right, let me break out my calculator real quick. So we're gonna go 150. 150 divided by, I got a number pad right here. Wait, clear. You go 250 divided by 150. Wait, how come oh, I times it, that's why. 0.6. Yeah, dude, that's pretty good, right? Like, I want to say, like, the key with figuring out elite body squat weight is typically 2.5 times your body weight. Okay, so if you're squatting 250, you know, that's pretty darn good. Right? That's 1.6. So if you could get to 2 times your body weight, which would be 300 pounds, that'd be great. But I would focus on getting, you know, if you're at 1.66 your body weight, so maybe focus on getting to like 175. That would be the next thing. So what would be 175? So we go 150 pounds times 1.75, and that gives us 262 pounds. So again, we talk about working on things infinitely. So just because you're at 250 and that's good, hey, let's keep going, right? Let's keep going. Good job, Jack. That's great, man. Joey D says, what's up? Lou Screw says, thank you for the info. Remember to like and subscribe. Thank you very much for saying that. I'm an intermediate and enjoy racing experts more than my own class because I feel like I push it harder. Timothy DC says, are you a doctor of chiropractic? Is that what that means? That's great. Here's another one from Manny Garcia. Where are we at with time? 6:12. So we'll go to 6:30. Manny Garcia says, my son is 5 and has raced his first season this year. He's done well and kept up with the fast kids. What should I not do in order to help him? You know what? That's a great question. What shouldn't you do? I really think that you need to just ask that in a way that's more of a positive motivator and just say, hey, what can I do to help him? I would say at 5, they have a hard time developing their sprint, right? Like, so working on the skill of just pedaling their bike as fast as they can, whether that's from a stand start coming out of the gate or just, you know, how they're pedaling after the first jump, where typically that's the easiest and fastest demand of your pedal stroke and your pedal cadence. So working on those 2 areas, overcoming inertia, that working on a stand start sprint, okay, and just working on it short and getting him to put 100% effort coming out of the hole, coming out of the gate, coming off the block, whatever choice you may have when it comes to a stand start sprint. And then of course working on some, like putting him on a set of rollers and having him stand up and pedal as smoothly and as fast as you can. That's what I would do. With kids, that's like the biggest skill. And of course, obviously going to the track and putting in the work, but I'm going to assume and I'm going to trust that you're already doing that, right? He's working on, you know, he's working on navigating the track and pumping and coming out of the gate and going around the corners. You know, there's always room for improvement when it comes to his skills. Working on his strategy. Hey, where does he need to be on the track? Hey, son, you know, when you go into this corner, how about you try to stay tight all the way to the inside and then, you know, get to, if the turn's to the right side coming out, then get to the right side coming out of the turn. Just simple things like that, like working on his positioning on where he's at on the track. Of course, I like this one here. Loose Screw says, you should practice so hard that the race is easy. Yes, you should practice so hard that you can handle the physical demands, but more importantly, you should practice well to where you master the skill, you master the physicality, you master it to where you could easily do it without thinking. And that's the whole point, right? You want to be able to do it easily and effortlessly, and that way when you get to the race, then you're focusing on strategy, you're focusing on your ability to be in a resourceful mind state, you're focusing on, hey, when I get out of the gate, I'm going to get a clean gait, and I'm going to get over on this kid to the left of me or to the right of me, or which way it is. You want to be available to where you could focus on how the race is unfolding and working on your strategy on how to get to the front without having to worry about how to navigate the track, not having to worry about a lack of power out of the gate, not have to worry about a lack of fitness all the way from the gate to the finish line. Amen to that, brother. Tyler Saunier says, I'm a small 15X looking to make mains in upcoming nationals. What do you think I should do? That's a great question. What are you doing now? And what do you feel that you need to do when you look at these 4 pillars of skills, physical strength, mental, emotional fitness, character traits? I would work on all of those areas, right? At 15 years old, I hate to say it, but it's so darn competitive at nationals, guys, is you almost have to approach it like a professional would approach it. I remember when I first turned pro, I really snapped out of it. And one of the traits that really elevated, if I recalled, was the character trait. It was like, oh wow, I'm pro. I got to start eating like a pro. I got to start showing up as a pro. I got to dedicate myself as a pro. And I would say at the national level, it's getting so darn competitive. You guys just can't just be halfway in, where it's like, well, I'll see how we'll show up to the race and see how I do. I got a race coming up in 4 weeks. Let's go out to the track and get some gates in, and maybe go to the gym and maybe do some sprints. No, dude, you got to have a regimen. You guys got to have a schedule and know what you're doing Monday through Sunday, and then repeat it again the following week, week in, week out. You have to have a schedule, follow it as best as you can, right? You always need flexibility in a schedule. You never know when something comes up, and whether you're a younger kid or you're an older adult and you have adult duties, or you're a younger kid and maybe school's important at the time, but you got to make sure that you allocate enough time to where it's a non-negotiable you get your work in. And so I think at 15, I think you got to approach it as a professional. Work on your skills, show up, work on your strength and conditioning away from the track. Again, I always repeat, the work that you're doing away from the track is going to reflect what's truly happening at the track. Because everyone, I'm going to presuppose that everyone's going to the track, right? And everyone's working on the skills. But the bigger gains are happening when no one's looking away from the track, working on your strength and conditioning, working on your sprints, working on your ability to get strong, working on your mental, emotional fitness, working on your character traits of dedication, discipline, and showing up when no one's looking. That's the key, guys. That's the key when it comes to being a professional at a national level, whether you're a 12-year-old, a 15-year-old, or you're 17 and 20, or you're an older guy. You guys that are putting a lot of money and time into this sport, you guys at the expert level, you guys are basically pros. That's how I look at you guys. That's how I would look at it. You guys are spending the same money and time and effort as pros. Might as well approach it as a professional. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Darren Ross, my man, hopefully you are doing well. Thanks for showing up. Hey, Darren Ross says, I have a problem of pushing my max speed if I'm leading the race because I don't have no one to chase. It's not until I feel someone catching up to me that is when I kick into top gear. Yeah, I mean, sometimes we need a rabbit to chase or something to run away from. I agree. That's always, if I recall like doing time trials as a pro, because we had to do them for like lane choice back in the day. I agree, Darren. I wasn't good at that either. I don't think I maybe broke top 5, out of a group of like 40, 50 pros one time, but I've always sat like, 10th. And that's just because I had nothing to chase and I had nothing to run away from. I always felt like I got my best laps when there was more competition out of the gate. There's nothing wrong with that. So what can you do to push your max speed if you're leading a race? Well, I would really focus on pushing your max speed away from the race, right? And so maybe you could break out timers and just focus on maybe 2 straights and see if you could reach your max speed just focusing on 2 straights. Like if you do it on a full lap, it's going to be really hard. You're going to be fatigued. You're going to break down. You try to repeat it again and you're full of metabolic waste and it's going to be really hard. So I'd focus on 1 straight or 2 straights and time it and just play a game with yourself and see if you, because here's the deal. If you could raise your governor, your ceiling, your ability to be faster through certain straights, then you're raising your potential. It's kind of like the same concept of doing downhill sprints. Like most BMX tracks aren't downhill, right? They're not downhill, but we do downhill sprints. Why? Because we're raising the governor. We're raising our limit. We're raising our ability to pedal as fast as we can. We're raising our ability to pedal faster than we normally would. Okay, and that way, when it comes time to pedal after the first jump, when it's time to pedal coming out of the first turn, you're able to pedal even faster than you normally would if you didn't do downhill sprints. So that's how you want to approach this. Hopefully that makes sense. Raising the ceiling, right? Like if you're going to do gates, you're going to do gates. You're going to go deep into it. You don't do full laps to work on gates. You're going to be full of metabolic waste, and after the second or third full lap, your strength is going to deteriorate. And then what's going to happen is that you're going to program based upon your execution of the skill. So that's why rest is important. That's why going deep into certain areas are important. Don't get me wrong. I love dedicating a day for myself or any athlete that's training for something big, right? A national, and working on longer efforts such as, gate to the second corner, or a gate to the third corner, or a gate to the finish line, full laps. Okay, I think that's really important. But that's only good for doing that. If you guys want to be faster in certain areas such as gate to the first jump or a rhythm section, then you just want to go deep and go into the rhythm section and work on that and dedicate that time towards that. And that way you could raise that ceiling. Okay, so I'm coming back to Tyler Saunier. He's giving me a little bit more information. I appreciate this. Guys, I'll take a few more questions. Thank you so much for showing up. I'm really, really honored to be your coach and helping you guys out today. Says here, I'm a small 15X with a body weight of 125. I'm having a hard time keeping up with the bigger kids in my age group. What do you think I should do? I think that you should lift weights. I mean, at the age of 15, if you're not doing that, you need to be lifting weights, my man. I recommend pretty much anybody over the age of 13 to start working on lifting weights. Getting underneath the barbell and performing general lifts, okay? That means squat, that means deadlifts, that means even bench press, whatever. Just start lifting weights, put on some muscle, and that's gonna help you keep up with bigger kids. Days Rock, how you doing? Days Rock says, say you've been training all year for grands and you crash and get hurt 3 weeks before and can't go. It was your #1 goal. Any help with the mental part coming back from something like that? Ooh, yeah. I mean, that's a tough one, right? Like, I'm not gonna lie. You've been dedicated and training, and you get hurt and you can't go. Yeah, I mean, first off, you have to be able to have that mental and emotional flexibility, right? That behavior flexibility, and be able to frame it like, oh shucks, okay, well, I can't race the grands. That sucks because I dedicated all that time. But at the same time, it's like, well, who did I become on this path of dedicating myself towards the grands? Yeah, I got hurt. I can't race. That's a bummer, right? So you could go, you basically have, you're in a fork in the road. You can go down 2 paths with that. You could take a negative Nelly attitude and just be a victim and be a poor me and live in victimhood. Oh, this sucks. That means when I work hard, I get hurt. Maybe, and all of a sudden you're never going to find yourself working hard again, right? So I wouldn't go down that route. It's kind of unresourceful. The other option would be to basically reframe it. Okay, great. I did all this work. I got hurt. Acknowledge that it sucks that you can't go to the grounds, but hey, what did I get out of it? How did I improve? What did I demonstrate? Did I improve as a person? Did I improve my skills? Did I improve my strength? Did I improve my character traits? Did I show that I was disciplined? Did I show that I was dedicated? Did I show that I showed up? Awesome. I showed that there's evidence I can do this. So let's get back to healing and do what I call BMX conditioning. Basically, that means do everything that you can around the injury and get back to work, right? Because again, it's like getting sick. Okay, well, shoot, what's the next best thing? You want to get healthy. Health is an infinite game. Growing is an infinite game. Getting faster is an infinite game. If you get hurt healing, you want to get back to healing. And it's a lot more resourceful if you have a positive attitude and you look at it as an opportunity, right? Look at it as an opportunity. And then what you need to do is you need to get back to where it's like, you know what? My goals, my racing, everything's all about growth. What am I going to get out of this? Who do I need to be? Because that's really what goals are all about. Sometimes it's not about achieving the goal, guys. It's really about who you become on the path working towards that goal. Okay? Because there are going to be setbacks for everybody. Injuries are going to happen. You see it in sports all the time. Aaron Rodgers just blew out his Achilles on the fourth play of the first game of the year. I'm a big football fan, by the way. And he's reframing it as, okay, well, how can I be of service? I'm going to continuously help the team, and I'm going to work on rehabbing my Achilles. And he's also going to be working on other areas, whether it's a skill, emotional, life skills, character traits, whatever. Your ability to look at as everything as an opportunity is going to determine what kind of character you have and what kind of example that you're going to be for others. Jacob James, man, thank you so much for the $10, man. That's great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We'll take a couple more questions, guys. We're getting close to 6:30. Let's see what we got here. Let me put on some glasses so I can see easier. Jacob James says, is it okay to use my drum roller as a substitute for tomorrow's maximum speed sprints? Say doing 8 cranks can be substituted for 4 seconds at 100%. Yeah, absolutely. For sure, right? Jacob James is doing the Illegal Grands training plan right now, and we're testing it out for him. So yeah, Jacob, thank you for asking that, and thank you so much for showing up, Jacob. I really appreciate you. Let's take another one. Rachel Dyer. I'm a first-time 26-year-old woman riding BMX. Why can't I... Oh, man. I got to read it over here. Why can't I pump correctly? Yeah, I mean, pumping in BMX is not always easy, especially if you've never done it before. So you have to look at it as a push and pull. So going up the jump, that means going up the lip, as we call it, you want to pull up. When you get past the peak, this part, then you want to start to begin to unleash that energy and push. Okay, so you want to begin thinking about that just with the upper body first. Okay, once you get that correctly, the lower body will follow. Does that make sense? So give that a try, Rachel. I wish there was, maybe you could send me a video, DM me through Instagram. I'd love to see that. I think that's great. Thank you so much for showing up, guys. What other questions do we have? Did I miss anything that I thought looked really cool? Days Rock says, thank you so much, Coach. You're the best. Hey, man, I love what I do, and I do what I love. Thank you guys for showing up. You guys are the best for showing up. If no one showed up, this would be pretty tough. Cool. I think that's it, man. Hopefully you guys got something out of this. And if you guys want more, make sure you guys go to bmxtraining.com and also check out if you guys want to increase your speed, check out the BMX Accelerator. Okay, so that's going to be bmxtraining.com/, BMX Accelerator. And also, if you guys haven't, just go to bmxtraining.com and sign up for my BMX Mastery newsletter. Okay, everyone should be on that newsletter. The link is going to be in the description below. Again, thank you guys for showing up. It's always an honor and pleasure to be your coach. I'm so grateful. And you guys, I'll see you guys. If you guys are going to the SoCal Nationals here in City of Industry, I will be there Friday. Make sure if you see me that you say what's up, and pull me aside. Let's chat. Looking forward to that, going out there and checking that out. And also, guys, I'll see you guys next Tuesday. You guys be easy. You guys be awesome. And keep dedicating yourself. Keep working on those 4 pillars. Keep working on your skills. Keep working on your physical strength. Keep working on the emotional, mental fitness. And keep working on those character traits, right? Guys, thank you so much. And I'll see you guys. I am out.